But first to Roy Hodgson's first TV interview since being appointed Watford manager until the end of the season. The 74-year-old has told us how he simply couldn't turn down the opportunity to return to management.
How's it going?
Oh, it's been good. We've been nice. The lure of the pitch, of course, is always a hard one to turn away from, but I've enjoyed the opening days. It's been very good. Nice to be back on the field.
What have you said to the players?
No, not very much. I mean, I think that what needs to be said to them needs to be done during the training sessions, really. So there's been no Churchillian speeches and no meetings with big thoughts, if you like, about what's needed, other than the obvious one that, you know, we're in a difficult position. The club needs to get enough points to stay in the league. No one wants to go out of the league. We don't want to as coaches. The owners don't want to, but the players don't want to either. We're in the best league in the world. That's where we want to stay. And we know that the only way to do that is to play well and win matches. So let's get down to work and let's start working on how we're going to play and become a better team.
You mentioned the owners there. I was wondering what Gino Pozzo and Scott Duxbury had said to you about what your role is now.
Nothing particular there either. You know, obviously they were disappointed, I think, to have to let Claudio go, because Claudio's a very nice man, a gentleman, and, you know, really he was a victim, I suppose, like so many managers these days. If you lose too many games in a row, people start to question you. But I mean, there was no real criticism of him as a person, but they wanted to bring somebody in, I suppose, with experience now of a relegation fight, maybe a slightly different way of working, and their message to me really is, you know, do what we've employed you to do and help keep us up, which is fine by me.
I know you've only had 3 sessions out there on the grass, Roy, but from what you've seen and what you saw of Watford, I'm sure you watched them before you took the job. Have you got enough here to stay in the Premier League?
It's too early to say, Gary. I mean, I wouldn't want to make any bold statements there, but as everybody knows, there are a lot of talented players at the club. You know, the recruitment's been from, you know, from South America through Europe and through Africa, and, you know, some very good footballers have been brought to the club. But unfortunately, to win matches, you don't just need talented footballers. You need to get the teamwork working and the sort of feeling, if you like, between the players and the knowledge of their roles, what's required of them. That's something which always has to be worked on. But I've got no doubt whatsoever if we can make any indentation into that, the players have the technical and physical skills required.
Clean sheets have been a problem. There's a few days left in the transfer window. Do you think you need any more to come in?
I haven't seen all the players yet, to be frank. You know, you come and there's players injured, there's players away in the African Cup of Nations, so I couldn't even say on paper that the squad's a very big one. There's a lot of players a lot of merits, you know, otherwise they wouldn't be representing their countries as they are at the moment. So it's far too early to say, but that isn't my major goal anyway. My goal, I have 5 months. I've got to try and help the club to stay in the league, and basically I'm more than happy to do that with the players that are here already. And if the owner decides he wants to present somebody else, of course we'll look into it, but there's going to be no knocking on his door from my point of view saying I think we should do this and that, because it was far too early.
3 weeks ago, he was sat in that very chair, wasn't he, Roy Hodgson? I mean, and anyone that knows him, you can't help but like Roy Hodgson. He is, as he described Claudio Ranieri as a gentleman, he is the absolute gentleman of football. But he, you know, 74 years of age, still up for the challenge though, absolutely. He always wanted to come back, didn't he?
Just less than 3 weeks ago he was here, and Carve asked him what next, what kind of job would you want to get into if you were to return to football, and he didn't give us the idea that it was going to be back in management, let alone Premier League management. It was more, would it be an ambassadorial role, would it be a consultancy role, an advisory role? That's what the direction we thought he would take, and this happened so quickly. Claudio Ranieri sacked and Roy Hodgson straight away into that post. It just reminds me a little bit, I think I remember I was watching the film Rocky IV, and bear with me,
yeah,
bear with
please,
me.
go.
Apollo Creed said to Rocky Balboa, he said, look, you can never take the fighter out of us, Balboa.
Yeah.
And I think you can't take the football out of a football man like Roy Hodgson. And so once this opportunity came about, there was only going to be one answer.
I had the luxury of sitting down with him for about 3/4 of an hour doing an interview, and it was just brilliant. That what the man doesn't know about football is just not worth knowing. It's just he's fabulous. But I guess it suits both of them as well. You know, if he said, you know, I've got 5 months, and we were trying to count it, actually he's got about 4 months. You know,
Yeah.
it's a short-term contract, which is just the way Watford love it.
Yeah.
The thing as well is with the Watford owners, they're quite hands-on and they watch every game. They're there. And the one thing they can't accept is when they see the team not playing properly, if there's not a plan, if the players are not fighting, if they're not together. If they see that, then they make a change very, very quickly. And I think in Roy Hodgson, they're getting somebody who has tried and tested methods.
Yeah.
He has got a way of working with his assistant, Ray Lewington. These players are going to be very, very well organised. They're going to be very, very well trained. They're going to know exactly what is expected of each and every one of them. So I think even if Watford lose a few games, the owners watching the performances will see that the players are united, that they have a plan, that they're all pushing in the same direction. So I think if anyone can keep Watford up, it is Roy Hodgson, because he has the experience. The one other point I would make is Ismail Assar hasn't played for Watford since November,
Right.
when he got injured in that 4-1 win against Manchester United. And ever since that 4-1 win against Manchester United, it has been downhill. That's when all the problems started. And the good news for Watford is that there are reports that Ismail Assar is back in training with Senegal, and he may even play for Senegal against Equatorial Guinea on Sunday in the Africa Cup of Nations. So that is very good news, that if he's fit enough to play, he comes back after the Africa Cup of Nations ready to play for Watford again, because he's arguably their best player.
Yeah, 19th from the table though. Roy's got his work cut out.